Have you noticed how it seems like everywhere you turn, everyone's talking about rebuilding American factories? Reindustrialization, it's the new buzzword on the lips of everyone from politicians to CEOs. And while everyone seems to agree on the goal, behind the scenes there is a massive debate raging about how we're actually supposed to get there.
Okay, so to really get a grip on where we're headed, we've got to look at where we've been. For about 40 years, the story of American manufacturing was frankly one of decline. You see, employment hit its absolute peak way back in 1979, with almost 20 million workers. Then, after 2001, we had the China shock, and millions of jobs headed overseas. And even when the output started to bounce back after the Great Recession, a lot of those jobs, they just didn't come back with it. This whole history is the backdrop for the debate we're having today.
So where does that leave us right now? Well, as of 2025, manufacturing makes up just under 10% of the entire U.S. economy. Yeah, don't get me wrong, that's still a huge multi-trillion-dollar part of our world, but it's definitely a much smaller slice of the pie than it was in its heyday.
And that really sets up the big question, doesn't it? There's this new agreement that America has to rebuild its industrial base. The real fight, though, is over how. And believe me, the answer is not simple. In fact, there are three totally different competing blueprints for what the future of American factories could look like.
All right, let's dive into the first path. We'll call this one the fortress economy. The whole idea here is to put national security first by, well, building a wall around the American market, to force companies to make things here at home, no matter what it costs.
And when you look at the tools they're proposing, wow, the scale of the protectionism is just staggering. We're not just talking about little tweaks. We're talking a universal 10% tariff on everything coming into the country, ripping up normal trade relations with China, and even a massive 100% tariff on Chinese EVs. This is a fundamental rewrite of the rules of global trade.
And this, right here, is where things get really heated. The economists are totally split. You've got the mainstream orthodox models saying these tariffs would kick off a trade war and shrink the whole economy by almost 6%. But then you have these heterodox, pro-tariff models that say, nope, it'll spark a huge wave of investment here at home and actually grow the economy by almost 3%. I mean, you couldn't have two more different predictions. The stakes are huge.
So what does this actually mean for your wallet? Well, here's the bottom line. One major study predicts that a big, universal tariff could cost the average middle-income family somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 every single year, just because the price of everything we import would go up.
Okay, now for a completely different vision. Let's look at path number 2, the automated forge. This scenario doesn't bet on building walls. Oh no, it bets on robots, on AI, on a full-blown technological revolution right on the factory floor. The promise of this path is just a massive, massive leap in productivity. Some projections show that AI by itself could make American manufacturing labor 37% more efficient by 2025. This is all about making more stuff, better stuff, and faster stuff with way fewer resources. But, and this is a big but, here's the paradox. The very same automation that makes us so much more productive could have a staggering impact on workers. One forecast suggests that automation and AI could end up displacing over 10 million U.S. jobs by 2030. It's the classic definition of creative destruction.
So how does this actually work? Well, the logic is pretty straightforward. You use advanced robots, capital, to make up for higher American wages, labor. Suddenly, U.S. factories can compete on cost with anyone in the world. Now, you might not bring back thousands of old-school assembly line jobs, but what you do bring back are the high-paying engineering, design, and management jobs that are connected to that factory.
Now for our third and final path, and this one is driven by a totally different mission. This is about using the enormous challenge of climate change as the engine to rebuild American industry from the ground up.
And what's amazing is that this strategy is literally redrawing the industrial map of the United States. We're watching a new battery belt spring into existence, stretching all the way from the Midwest down through the South, as billions and billions of dollars pour in to build the next generation of EV and battery factories.
And the scale of this green industrial policy is just enormous. By 2030, projections show it could create over 500,000 new manufacturing jobs. And on top of that, it could add more than $86 billion to the economy. And that's not a one-time boost. That's every single year.
But of course, every strategy has a weakness, an Achilles heel. And for this one, it all comes down to raw materials. See, to build all those batteries and solar panels, you need critical minerals like lithium and cobalt. The problem? The U.S. just doesn't mine nearly enough of them, which leaves us really dependent on other countries. So there you have it, 3 very different paths: build walls, build robots, or build green. But here's the thing about the real world. It's messy. America isn't just going to pick one. What we're really heading for is a complicated, sometimes contradictory, collision of all 3 strategies at the same time.
And that brings us to the single most important concept in this entire discussion, what we're calling the reindustrialization trilemma. It's a classic policy puzzle. You've got 3 goals: keeping costs low, keeping control of your supply chains, and building a green energy future. The trilemma is that it's almost impossible to get a perfect score on all 3 at once. You have to make trade-offs. You have to choose.
And this table just lays those trade-offs out so clearly. You see, the fortress path risks something called stagflation. That's a nasty combo of high prices and a stalled economy. The automation path could lead to massive inequality. And the green path, well, that has fiscal and political risks. A future government could just decide to pull the plug on all the funding. It shows there's no silver bullet. Every choice has a cost.
Now get ready for a paradox. Think about this. High tariffs are designed to protect blue-collar jobs, right? But they also make it more expensive to manufacture things in the US. So what do companies do when their costs go up? They invest in more automation to get more efficient. So in a strange twist, the very policy designed to save jobs could actually end up accelerating the arrival of the robots.
So when you put it all together, what does the future probably look like? Well, the most likely outcome isn't one of these pure scenarios, but a hybrid of all of them. A future where America builds high-tech, automated factories to make green energy products, all happening behind a shield of tariff walls, a green, automated fortress.
And that leaves us with the biggest question of all. This new industrial future, it's coming, and it's going to be disruptive. As we build this green, automated fortress, how do we make sure the workers who built the old economy don't get left behind? What policies do we need to help millions of people navigate this huge transition and actually share in the benefits? That, right there, is the challenge ahead of us.